Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Hiran Singh, Head of Investor Relations and Strategy for Sunshine Holdings PLC. On behalf of the team, I would like to welcome all of you for the third quarter results webinar for the financial year 2024. Some housekeeping announcement. As usual, this webinar will be recorded and later available in our IR webpage. At the initial stage of the presentation, I will mute all participants and then I will later open it up for Q&A. So on Q&A, you can either send your questions to me via the chat box, or you can unmute yourself and ask the question. So I will moderate those questions with our business leaders. From our side, I would like to introduce my team. I have Mr. Vish Govindasamy, who is the Deputy Chairman of Sunshine Holdings. Mr. Anuruddha Aluvihare here, who has joined us recently to head the consumer business. Mr. Farman Nisa, who will be taking over Healthguard Pharmacies going forward as COO. Also online, we are joined by Mr. Shanta Bandara, who is the CEO of Sunshine Pharmaceuticals, and also Mr. Sanjeev Sarnapala, who is the CEO of Sunshine Exports. With that, I'll jump on to corporate announcements. So just run through, on 15 November, we announced that Mr. Arune Gunathilaka was appointed as a non-independent director. And also on the 18th of January, we infused 500 million of capital into Sunshine Tea, which was recently acquired by the group. And the objective of this was to strengthen the balance sheet and make it more stable to go on and win new business. Also on the same day, we announced the appointment of Mr. Aruna Deeptikumar, who serves as the group CFO to the board of Sunshine as an executive director. Also, just to touch upon on the leadership change, on 26th, Mr. Vish Govindasamy stepped down as the group managing director into his new role of deputy chairman, while Mr. Shyam Sathasivam took over as group CEO of the group. In terms of group performance, I will just jump into the third quarter results. We recorded a revenue of 14.2 billion, which was 4.4% above what was reported the same quarter last year. The growth is mainly stemming from the healthcare sector. If you look at a quarter comparison against the same quarter last year, consumer was down 7% again last year, mainly stemming from the export business, despite strong performance in the local business, and also agri business coming down 9%. And the main factor there is the palm oil pricing. EBIT reported was 1.8 billion at a margin. Sorry, EBIT was 2.5 billion at a margin of 18, and PAT was 1.8 billion at a margin of 12.7%. I think the another thing to stress here is the finance cost. I think we have reported a significant reduction in finance cost of about 70% reduction from the same quarter last year, mainly due to the finance cost coming down, the interest rate coming down over that period. So for healthcare, going on to next, I will hand over to Mr. Shanta Bandara to take you through the healthcare sector. Shanta, over to you.
Thank you, Hiran. And good afternoon, everyone. Let's take you through the healthcare sector segmental reporting revenue. You may see that the pharma business, along with its distribution arm, continues to lead and contribute 60% of the revenue split in terms of the healthcare sector revenue, and followed by medical devices. And the manufacturing business has done quite well in the quarter and in the last 6 months as well. Hence, you may see that the contribution from the manufacturing business has improved to 9%. And the retail contributes a similar percentage of 9% to the revenue split of the sector. And also the asset allocation is also in a similar manner, where you may see that the devices have 25%, where they have placed most of the machines in hospitals. Therefore, it's a bit capital intense, other than the pharma manufacturing continues to have 15% sort of invested in assets. Moving on to the financials, we had a fairly good quarter, I would say, definitely compared to the previous year, same quarter. However, comparing with quarter two, the revenues are slightly down, but we had a very good quarter in terms of having able to supply the MSD and our third-party suppliers orders through the manufacturing business, as well as the devices business recorded a good revenue performance during the quarter. And with that performance, we were able to fare quite well in our EBIT in terms of cost and margins were better in those orders, and as well as the others contributed to the EBIT. That is, the pharma business margins also have somewhat improved towards the latter. And the retail business also contributed to a 25% growth year on year. So it has been a good quarter in terms of revenue and PAT for the healthcare business. Moving on from the financials to some of the highlights in the market, the Sunshine pharma business continues to sustain in the private market at 13% plus market share, while the market growth stands around 22%, and we're almost mirroring to the market growth of 20%, 22%. And we see that the volume growth are now to be positive and picking up in the market on quarter comparisons. So we look forward for better quarters. Of course, the quarter three has been good in terms of volume in the overall market, as well as for Sunshine Pharma. And some highlights on the institutions. Next slide, please. Sorry, coming back to the dollar sensitivity into the pharma business, which is more 100% import-based business, that you may see that the indexing is such that if we have started June 22 at 100, whereas that indexing has got reduced in terms of pricing, where the industry is 100% price control industry that we are operating in terms of pharmaceuticals, where during the June rather, we saw the dollar dip, and when the dollar took a dip, there was a price reduction that the regulator announced of 16%. However, in the subsequent months, and the dollar picked up to about 325 plus, and that had an impact in some of the price control products, which is the gazetted products that we have in our portfolio, which is about 40%, had that impact in terms of the price reduction, while the prices were static and the import bills were settled at a higher rate. So that's a highlight which impacted the gazetted products in the portfolio for the company. Moving on from there to some of the indicators in the hospital business. We see that the trend in terms of occupancy in the private hospitals have been positive, and we see that the trend is positive in terms of labs, tests, and also the theaters have been faring quite well in terms of their operations. So therefore, the occupancy levels and the activity levels have been fairly good, which also reflects in our numbers, that is mainly in the medical devices business. So that's quite positive as well when you look at the quarter three. Moving on from that slide to the Lina. Again, good news is that the efficiencies in the quarter has been very good, and the team has been delivering the required capacities. There have been improvement in batch sizes in terms of our MDI canisters so that we were able to supply all the orders in the Q3, which is very positive for us in the Lina manufacturing business. And this trend is good, which we see from Q3. So with that good news, I would like to hand over to Farman to take you through the retail business. Farman, over to you.
Yeah. Okay. Good evening, everybody. On the retail business, we have actually done well in Q3 in comparison to the previous quarter. There is a growth, 10% growth in revenue, 20% growth in EBIT. The growth is significantly more when you compare last year. The bill count is one main reason for the growth, and the bill count is seeing an upward trend because of a couple of reasons. So one is the number of promotions that HealthGuard started offering to shoppers have increased. That is one. The Black Friday was something that was like a blockbuster, which really helped us. Further, the wellness products, we saw a reasonable or significantly more price increase in the wellness products for the last 2 quarters. That also helped not only in revenue but also in profit. So the trajectory is very good. We hope to continue that trajectory in Q4 and for the next year. Yeah.
Thanks, Farman, for the description of retail business. I think next I would like to invite Anuruddh to take you through the consumer business, which is the local side.
So good evening, everyone, once again. So year on year, if you look at it last quarter versus last quarter, we have recorded 2.7% growth in revenue. But however, it is recording -7%, which means it mainly comes from confectionery and also dip in volumes, tea volume, and also plus the exchange rate movement is also has contributed to the decline. EBIT is mainly supported by tea segment of consumer brand business, driven by the favorable auction prices that have really given the incremental value. Moving on to PAT, it's driven by favorable impact stemming from the gross profit for the quarter. Next slide. In terms of revenue, tea has performed well in terms of both volume and value. And the last quarter, we have achieved the highest tea volume during last few years, I would say. However, the confectionery has declined both value and volume considerably. And that is mainly due to the imports and local players into the price war. Their prices are very competitive. So something that we are looking at immediately, how best we can counter them in the marketplace. In terms of market share, we have managed to hold on to our position during challenging environment. Since October, we have been really maintaining our momentum. Confectionery is slightly declining our value share, which is a matter to concern, which we are currently looking at to address that. So in terms of price index, we have taken 2 SKUs from each category. That is from tea, if you look at it, we are maintaining the tea prices. We have taken 1 price increase and maintaining the tea prices, whilst the tea market is still at a lower level. In terms of confectionery, we have not taken a price revision. However, the sugar prices have really increased with the import tax, and now it's time for us to look at on a price revision or way of managing this increasing cost of sugar. Thank you.
Thank you, Anuruddh. I think to take on and explain the export business, I would like to invite Sanjeev So we can move further on that. Sanjeeva?
Thank you, Hiran. Good evening, everyone. From Sunshine Tea Exports point of view, we have not had a strong quarter for Q3, in both in terms of volume and in revenue. Year on year, third quarter, we have seen a 36% drop in volume from 0.9 million kilos to 0.6 million kilos. And in comparison to last quarter, we have seen a 24% drop from 0.79 to 0.6. This is mainly coming from the Middle Eastern sector, the drop, and also part from Europe and US. In terms of revenue, again, we have seen a 43% drop year on year for Q3 from 2.1 billion to 1.2 billion. And against the last quarter, the drop is 23% from 1.5 to 1.2 billion. This is due to two factors. One is due to the drop in volume, and the other is due to the exchange, which was at 360 per dollar last year in the third quarter to 320 in this quarter. Expectation for Q4 is that the volume to increase by around 34% and the revenue to increase by about 30 to 35% compared to the third quarter. I would like to now hand it over to the agribusiness. Thank you.
Thank you, Sanjeeva. I think I would like to invite Vish to brief all of you on the agribusiness. Vish, over to you.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for joining us this afternoon. Agribusiness mainly in our palm oil business and dairy. As you can see, we have had a drop in revenue for quarter on quarter from 23 to 24, mainly driven by the reduction in palm oil pricing. And this price reduction is nothing to do with the international price, but it is based on the palm oil demand locally, driven by the current policy of the government. And there is cheaper coconut oil in the market due to lower duty coconut oil being imported currently. So that's mainly the reason why there is a revenue drop, about 14% year on year revenue drop. But on the good side, dairy has had a really good quarter, turned around quite well, and has had a good pricing, steady price during the quarter, and also had a reduction in feed price, and also had a good volume during the quarter. So the total GP margin declined about close to 170 bips, brought our GP margin to 38.9%, as I said, because of the pricing that came across to the revenue during the quarter. So that's in a nutshell the performance of the agribusiness. So this gives you all the KPIs on each quarter on 23 and 24, our production, that is CPO stands for crude oil, crude palm oil and milk production, and also the price growth for palm oil and milk price. So these are the pricing for both the palm oil and the average milk price that we have got.
Thank you, Vish, for that information on the agribusiness sector. Now we will open the forum up for Q&A. So you can, as I mentioned at the beginning, you can either send it through the chat box, or you can unmute yourself and ask the question. I think first question is for consumer. The question is, if Sun takes a price hike in confectionery with sugar tax, will it further impact the volumes? since it would worsen the price disparity you mentioned. Anuruddha, you want to look at this?
Yeah, so yes, so if we take a price increase at this point in time, so it's a question of the affordability of our shopper. So what we are looking at is immediately, like tomorrow itself, we are looking at how best we can maintain the price while ensuring ensuring there is no margin erosion. So to do that, we are revisiting our BOMs of each SKUs and coming out with the best solution. But worst case scenario, we might have to take price increase. But in that case, we'll have to support the price increase with the marketing support and shopper value for money schemes to keep the shopper with us.
Thank you, Anuruddha. I think the next question is also from Isuri. I think the question itself is very specific, but you can answer on a very generic basis on what your expectation is for branded tea growth.
Yeah. So as it is, the information from the reliable sources says that the entire category is declining roughly 12%, and within that, branded categories declining more than the unbranded sector. So this is mainly due to the consumption behavior. We are reacting to that. There are plans in place already how to get the people to use more on tea and increasing the number of occasions and number of consumption occasions, and also within that, how best we can be relevant. That's the direction that we are working.
Thank you, Anuruddha. I think the next question is from Ruchi. Why did consumer segment margin improve even though revenue growth was negative? Ruchi, I will take that. I think our consumer segment consists of both the local business as well as the export business. And the revenue degrowth is mainly stemming from the degrowth of the export business, as Sanjeev explained the situation in the Middle East and our volume dips. So the degrowth is coming from there. The margin increase is coming from the actually the local tea, because the auction prices have somewhat eased from its peaks, and hence there is some room, some improvement in the gap between the price and the cost. So the margin increase is stemming from the local tea business. Hope that answers that question. Moving on to the next one from Tarushi. Can you give some insight on the inventory level during the quarter? We can roughly see the inventory turnover days have risen. Shanta, do you want to take that on from the healthcare side?
Yes, Hiran. So actually, the month, if you take the pharma business, largely the month of October in the quarter was quite a bad month where we saw recovery. So therefore, there was pressure on inventory because July and August were good months in the pharma, and we went ahead with our orders with our suppliers, and we saw October falling down, and November, December were fair months. So we ended up December with a little bit high stocks in some of the even some of the moving products, but in terms of Lina and SMD, some of the sales helped the stock situation. So overall, I think we had a slight high in the pharma business in terms of stocks.
Thanks, Shanta. And Harushi, I would like to add on the consumer side also. I think given the low auction prices, there's been some build-up of inventory to make use of those preferable prices. So hence, that is also there. So I think over the quarter, it will normalize into the normal cycle. Moving on to the next question from Suri. I think Shanta, you can take that. Question is, how is the medical devices VAT exemption removal impact on the current healthcare sector margins?
Yeah, so it's in two folds. One is that the 15% became 18, which is obvious, as Isuri's question is for, which was 0 coming into 18 was the impact. And So these are very competitive markets, and passing down the entire VAT component to the hospitals doesn't look feasible for us. Wherever that is feasible, we have tried doing that. Given that the medical devices segment is not fully price controlled, there is some amount of room in discussion with the institutions to pass on some of the VAT. However, anyway, if we have quoted for tenders, that would have been a very difficult area, because once the prices are being set for tenders, it would be very difficult. So therefore, it's a mix of it, where some of the part we are able to pass to some of the products, some of the devices, and some we have to stomach in until we get some sort of market conditions to increase prices. So therefore, some part of it has been stomached in.
Thanks, Shanta. And since you're here, I would like to take this question also, because I think it's not nothing related to business, but it's more political. Can you comment a bit on what is happening in relation to the NMRA, where 3 members have stepped down? Just broadly give some color on the situation.
Yeah, this is a very sensitive area, and it is also quite new. This happened 2 days back, and there's different news coming around it. So therefore, I may not comment too much on this subject matter. But however, overall NMRA, all the officials, the top seats have changed obviously from the ministry itself, the minister himself and the NMRA chairman has changed, and we have a new chairman, Dr. Ananda Vijay Vikrama, and also we have a new CEO, Dr. Savin Semage. So we see in the last 4 weeks to 6 weeks, very positive changes in the NMRA speed on clearing some of the pending matters. So we see some of the changes as positive, and we are supportive to the regulator, and we are working very closely with our chamber and supporting the regulator on these changes. So that's where we stand. We will support the regulator in terms of these changes which are happening. But these three are too early for us to comment on.
Thanks, Shanta. I think this one Anuja can take. Question is from Uchid. Have you seen any impact on consumer demand from the increase in VAT from 1st Jan?
Yeah. So this is in terms of our internal performance, we have not seen any impact to the business. But however, in the marketplace, if you look at still the 12%, 18% VAT impact products are not in the market that much as in end of January. But however, the basket value of modern trade shoppers have come down. That is mainly because of the certain commodity prices have gone up, like vegetable and stuff, like the prices have gone up significantly. But this impact, we are expecting this impact heavily towards end of February and then during the next couple of months.
Thank you, Anuja. I think moving on to the next question from Shalini. Is the declining cost of sales mainly coming from the reduction in tea auction? Yes, I think some other materials have increased, but like the reduction is mainly coming from the tea prices at the auction. I think Arushi's next question is on pharma manufacturing. Shanta, if you don't mind taking this.
Yeah.
Can we assume?
Yeah, I saw the question, Hiran. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Tarsha, I think in the midterm, we are very positive because we see significant changes in our capacity increase, mainly on efficiency increases that we have planned with our team. It's a new team and a new management team managing the front lines in terms of the manufacturing. So we see in the midterms, it's quite positive for us to sustain these capacities, and we are working in shifts, and a certain amount of changes in the manufacturing processes have been put in place. Batch sizes have been improved. So therefore, we see that in the midterm, we will be able to sustain without further capacity increases in our machinery. But in terms of our work conditions and working towards more efficiency has given us these improvements.
Thanks, Shanta. I think moving on to the next question from Isuri. I think, if you don't mind taking this. The question is, are there any ingredients that are imported for the dairy segment?
Yeah. During the off season, when there is no maize in the country, we do import maize seeds, not the green maize, maize seeds. So a couple of times a year, when there's not enough maize seeds in the country, government gives permits and we import maize seeds. So that's the only ingredient at present that we need to import each year during the off season.
Thanks, Krish. I think if there's any other questions, you can post it and we'll take it up. Okay, Shanta, I think this is on the NMRA from questions from Adam. Can you comment on the new pricing mechanism proposal for the NMRA?
Yeah, actually, we are very closely working with the pricing committee of NMRA, where we had a couple of rounds or more than a couple of rounds of discussions into a equitable, transparent pricing mechanism for pharmaceuticals. Pharma is the only industry right now under price control and does not have a mechanism to set prices. So it's quite gray, and the transparency is quite poor in terms of the pricing of medicine. And so therefore the progress has been positive until we came through the new pricing committee changes, and we are working through with the new committee, because the problem that the industry has faced over the years is that the officials of the pricing committee keeps on changing. So therefore we see that there are new senior members have joined the committee and with new ideas. So we are again submitting our proposals, acknowledging some of the ideas they have, and still we have not come to a conclusion. But the talks are progressing for us to set a transparent and a feasible pricing mechanism, given that 85% plus imports dependent industry. So therefore, still it's progressing. And I would say there have been the number of discussions have improved. So therefore, compared to last year, we are getting closer to some sort of conclusion.
Thank you, Shanta, for that in-depth explanation on the process. So if there's any questions, happy to take them. Yeah, so in the absence of any other questions, I would like to wrap this session up. On behalf of the Sunshine Holdings team, I would like to everyone who participated and engaged with us to get more clarity on our results for the third quarter. And hope to see you all next quarter as well as we close our full year for the FY24 financial year. Have a good evening. Thank you.
Thank you.